Feminism as a business. Alright. Before I explain that feminism is a business, we first gotta understand what is a business. What is a corporation? Now, a corporation has ranks. So you got the CEO, COO, CFO. Now, CEO is Chief Executive Officer. So he's in charge of the executives. And then COO is Chief Operations Officer. Now he's in charge of operations and make sure everything runs smoothly. And he has CFO, which is Chief Financial Officer. And he's in charge of finances, making sure, companies make money, making sure they don't lose no money, making sure, just, in charge of money, making sure they make money, making sure they're not losing money, figuring out how much do they spend, stuff like that. Now, the role of the executives is to make decisions, and then the CEO is there to make sure that their decisions and ideas get heard. So he has a final say when the idea is executed. But it has to be voted on. They don't just CEO be like, you don't have total final say. You still got shareholders and stuff like that. Now, certain businesses, like if you look at like a fast food restaurant, you have employees, we have the cashiers, the people who work the drive-through, the cooks, the janitor, he comes in, wash dishes or clean the toilets or whatever. And then you have manager, and then you have store manager. The employees, they basically run the restaurant. They do all the cooking, they give out the food, they work cashier, they mostly doing most of the things. But they don't have a lot of power, but they are influential. They gotta be there. If they weren't there, the business won't run. And then you have the manager, they look after the employees, make sure they're doing their job. So if you have a problem, you're going to go to the cashier and then you're going to call the manager. You're not going to take no blame for it. You're going to call the manager. It ain't my bad, it's the manager. Let me get the manager. Every time there's a problem, let me get the manager. And then the store manager, a lot of people know, store manager has to come there at 3 o'clock in the morning and open up the store. And every store, restaurant, whatever, probably has a store manager, a person that comes in, opens up the store, and they have to do the breakfast shift. That's what they do. And manager has to count the money, then the store manager has to count the money, make sure they didn't get short or nothing like that. But yeah, they're basically in charge of all the things in the store. They're making sure they have enough product and brooms or whatever, cleaning materials, ingredients and stuff like that. Making sure the manager's okay, employees okay, making sure everything's going well. Now, in any type of business that you have, you need employees, you need leaders, you need like people who's gonna run the business, run the organization. You also need a product. You have to sell this product. And you can hire people, from other companies that, can promote your product better. You might not know how to promote a product, so you might have to bring somebody in to promote the product for you and to help you promote it. So a lot of people don't understand is that, just because it's a cause doesn't mean it's not a business. When you have to come to represent your organization, you think that guy's not getting paid? He's not showing up for free. So if you think of the protests, of people who protest feminism or Black Lives Matter, they're being paid. They're not showing up for nothing. It's like, even if they're voluntarily showing up, they still represent the organization. So even if let's assume that they're not getting paid, they still represent the organization, the image of the organization. So they can get fired too. Just like a company that's sent there to play a certain role in the company. If they don't do well, if they mess up the image of the company, you got to fire them. So I would assume that Black Lives Matter, feminism, all these men's rights groups, I would assume if they're not doing their job, if they're not representing the group as it should be represented as, they can fire them. And I would assume they all be also getting paid. So, like a corporation, you have a CEO, meaning person who takes the blame, who looks after executives, and then you have the employees, the people on the ground. So if you look at all these organizations, they have people on the ground, which is like the protesters, and they're supposed to protest and promote the cause. And like any cause or corporation, you need money to run. When they show up with their t-shirts, those t-shirts weren't free. The t-shirts cost money, so they got to pay for these t-shirts. And you're talking about like 10,000 people in these organizations, and who all got to wear these t-shirts. That's a lot of money. You're talking t-shirts. If you're talking about Black Lives Matter t-shirts, I don't know. Unless you get these things wholesale, these probably like $15-20 a t-shirt. I mean, I know I sell t-shirts, and I know that if you can buy these t-shirts for like $3 or $5. It depends on who your wholesaler is, whatever. And then you can sell them for like $20. I'm sure the people who run Black Lives Matter, they can probably get a free t-shirt because it's their company. But these protesters who have to protest and represent the movement, I'm sure, I would assume they're not getting no free t-shirt. So you got 10,000 people in your movement, they all need a t-shirt. That costs money. They all need a banner. That costs money. So stuff costs money. The t-shirts cost money. Banners cost money. All the organizations from each state, you got to pay them. They have bills because people still have bills. So you got to be paying somebody. Because even if you're doing something for free, these people still have bills. So how are they paying their bills? So they must got a second job. There's no way they're doing this full time unless they're on welfare or something. So they're either on welfare or they're getting paid or they have a second job somewhere. So you have the leaders of the movement, which is I forgot it was these three people, but with every organization, with every corporation, you're gonna have people you don't see. So if CEO represents the people you do see and the person who takes the blame, just like the manager, like if my fries are cold, I'm complaining to the manager. I'm not complaining to the guy who owns the business. I don't never even see that person. I only see the manager and employees. The only person I can complain to is the manager and employee. That's why most companies have what they call it, customer service. Every time you have a complaint, you call customer service, and then they help you with your problem. You're not calling the guy who founded Comcast. You're not calling that guy. You don't know that guy's number. All you know is customer service. So you have different ranks, even in these organizations, like Black Lives Matter, feminism. You have different ranks, and there's people you see and people you don't see. And you see those three women. You see them. You know their names. You know what they look like. You probably know their background. But you don't see who's actually funding the movement. Because for them, a lot of people don't know, like, when you show up to do a protest, you got to get a permit. You can't just show up at somebody's private property and start protesting and you have to have a permit. You're free to protest, but it's not really free. It's only free unless it's a public space. If it's a public space, like parks are usually public spaces. So that's why you always kind of see them protesting at certain spots. But when it's private, you gotta go. Cops can actually arrest you. They can tell you gotta go now if they want you to go up to private property. So Federal Reserve, you try to protest Federal Reserve, can't even do it because it's private property.